Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So for today, we're going to be reading this cloth. I'm going to start off by scrying this cloth and then we're going to get more information. This cloth, because people always ask, no affiliation or anything like that. I'm not sponsored by this shop. There's a small shop in Mississippi called the Serendipity Hippie Bohemian Studio. So I do believe she has a website, so feel free to Google her and check it out if you want to procure yourself one of these beautiful cloths. And people always ask me where I get everything, so this is just a ebony letter opener. It's like my favorite thing. I love ebony ever since I've got this. I got this when I was like 18. Someone that I worked with went to Mount Kilimanjaro to climb it and brought these back from the village that was where they stayed before they took off on their climb. So yes, I love it. All right. Okay. Taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay. Now, the first thing that I'm seeing is I'm seeing a person sitting here, and I'm noticing that they have like this brilliant aura around them, and I'm being drawn in here, and these are their legs being crossed, but it's like a heart. So if the heart's in the lower section of the body, this really speaks to me about love of home. So for some of you, you may be really enjoying being at home right now. You may be decorating. You may be really thinking about ideas of home and family. But this is bringing me into like a protective energy. I'm seeing like a person with their arms crossed now. There's like a lighter blue in here. So some of you are really focused on protection. I've actually gotten a message about people being focused on protection more than usual the last couple of weeks. And there seems to be something, I just heard domicile, and I don't feel that that just means home, any place that you reside. So even your energy body, the astral space that you reside in, the astral places that you venture to if you are someone who projects or dream walks or lucid dreams. There's something about protecting and cleansing these spaces. There's another person that's back here. I hadn't seen this before, and I don't know that this is a person. This feels very angelic. So some of you may be having an angelic presence that's around you right now. I feel that this angelic presence actually within the heart space is connected to some sort of greater cosmic consciousness. And so this may be like a little bit of a warning that's coming through from a particular angelic frequency for some of you. And if that's going to be you, you're going to know that somehow, because I feel that this being has actually made itself known to whoever this message is for. Now, I'm being shown that this is the demarcation between the things that we know and then the things that we don't know. So we're about to dive into some things that if you recognize this as you, there may be something that you don't know right now. One other way that you're going to know if this is you is if suddenly you feel the need to cleanse or protect your space, yourself, your astral spaces, or your home, and you don't really know why you're being driven to. They're telling me the answer is in this band. So when I follow this band and I'm looking for an answer to that question, my eyes stop here. There you go. And there's like this little X or this little star there, and X marks the spot. There's something going on here. And now that I'm looking at that, I'm becoming aware for the very first time that there's actually a pattern underneath all of this. It's almost like it was some type of paisley print that got tie-dyed over, which, oh, that adds a whole other layer. There's some sort of band. This is a continuous stream that's taking place. So when I feel that, when I feel it inside the subconscious and in the conscious realm, that makes me think of the zodiac. So there's movements of some kind that are currently taking place. Right now, I just immediately thought of Chiron. So there must be something very important happening with Chiron right now. There's something that's trying to be illuminated from that planet and the particular position that it has in the sky. It's supercharging something that's going on in an area that we can't see. Therefore, this is either the preconscious or the subconscious. And I'm being drawn to this band right here because this is extremely bright. There's 4 stars here, but 2 of them are very bright. So there's something about, when I get into the number 4, it's throwing me back into the heart shape. There's something about our foundations, where we've thrown our roots. There may be something in the energy of the place that you currently reside, or the things that you take part of on a daily basis, that are fueling some sort of wound that needs to be addressed. And we may not directly associate them immediately. So this is something that if you recognize yourself from the first part of the reading, you're being asked to consider. It doesn't mean buy into it or believe it or trust it. It means consider it, because if it resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, it won't, right? So here with this, there's like this, notice how, I don't know if you can see it, there's this seam that connects them. It's like there's a seam that passes through this, and that's how it's being given to me, like a current from this current into this current. And this is something that is sitting directly underneath this figure, I'm noticing. So this figure quite possibly is someone that either has watched over your family, watched over an ancestral line, or is someone that has been helping you because of the type of environment that you're currently in. I don't know if this foundation is necessarily, it's like twofold. It's like current situation, and then this wound seems to be early life. So, okay, so that's what's going on. There's some sort of issue here that's trying to be highlighted. And this highlighted issue, it has something to do with the way that we love and the way that we feel at home, at ease, at peace, how easily we connect to others, how easily we listen to ourselves. I am feeling this as embodiment. So this is about embodying oneself truly. So what this can look like is, for example, if you're and this makes sense because I did do a couple readings that were really speaking to the empath collective last week. If you're over giving and denying the things that you need to do for yourself, right? There may be something within your environment currently that is trying to highlight that wound. We may misplace the judgment of, oh, why is that? Wow, okay, that just added a whole other layer. We may be misplacing the judgment of the situation. So for example, feeling like the situation is to blame when there's something going on inside that's really trying to correct and heal, with that Chiron being highlighted. Others of you, though, it's always trying to correct and heal yourself rather than realizing there's things external to you that are not right. And that it's okay to accept that. It's okay to accept that. You don't have to change your view to always shift to make everything outside of you right. What that can look like is, for example, a person who feels sad, but then they feel like, oh, if I'm sad all the time, then this means that I'm not appreciative. So I'm just going to appreciate the things that I have. There's a good way to do that. And then there's doing it in the extreme, which the extremes are never healthy. If it is, for example, you feel lonely, but you don't want to acknowledge that you feel lonely because maybe you do have people in your life and you feel like that's not acknowledging the people that are in your life. It's okay for you to feel lonely, right? This reading's coming through almost to say there's something in here that is causing a little bit more of a ruckus than what we realize. And it's almost because we're cut off from the energy. We've cut ourselves off from it somehow. And I do feel that it is being highlighted inside the mind. Notice how like bright this area is, and then you have these sort of like dark patches around it. It's almost like this brightness wants to expand. That's our illumination, our perception, our understanding of self. But then there's these thoughts or these beliefs that shut it down. So then we only have a particular type of experience, and we carry around this weight because we don't allow our energies to flow through us appropriately, those energies being emotional energy. Now, some of you were taught that your emotions are bad, right? How dare you be so angry? How dare you be so sad? How dare you feel this way? And so this is something that someone is working on currently. But in tandem, this is going into protection. And I find that interesting. It's almost as though this particular little blotch here is something that is acting as a hole within the energy system to allow some things that are not necessarily what we would like to latch on. And so I'm not saying that to scare anybody. Again, my readings are confirming things for you. So if you're not aware of them, just, disregard it. But someone here, this is why you are feeling this need to like protect and cleanse, because you have some sort of vulnerability in your psyche that's opening up right now to process and to be seen. And that makes us very vulnerable, right? That's a time when we're really vulnerable. This is one of the reasons why this angelic presence is around you right now, to protect you from this, okay? I would like to do 3 cards. Okay, and we will read the bottom. The bottom is the Lovers. Okay, so, and I will put every one down and zoom in for this so you can see the cards. Okay, so what we have here is we're starting off with the first energy being that of the Temperance card. And when we have this Temperance card, I'm being very drawn to, I often say the above is pouring into the below, which highlights the below section, which brings us into the Devil card next in the Major Arcana series. So right now what's happening is there's this interconnection of the surface and the deep, right? And so this is why this reading is coming out. We have the surface of feeling like we need to protect, possibly processing something, and then the deep being the drive to protect is actually coming from this vulnerability, which is allowing other energies to come in. So there is quite possibly some issues regarding anger or resentment or bitterness or negativity that are being highlighted right now, because I'm not necessarily reading this card as a whole, so I'm not necessarily reading the alchemical symbolism. I'm just taking various parts of it. When I see this fire emblem, you know, when we think about the qualities of fire, we think anger, passion, desire, lust, all those very Mars-like energies. And so there's something here that's very Mars-like that may be trying to process out of our system. Notice how there's wings kind of cresting this crow or raven on their chest. It's where the heart becomes lighter. That's how that's standing out to me. Someone's heart is trying to become lighter. And this is one reason why this is starting to process. Notice this isn't in the, oh, I'm sorry, say this. If I say this, I'm pointing to that little star. Notice it's not in the subconscious sphere. It's more in this like pre-conscious layer just before we become aware of it. So some of you don't have the hiccups now, please. Don't have the hiccups now. For you, I'm going to do it one day. I'm just going to record a reading with a bunch of hiccups, and you guys are going to have to deal. You can divine my hiccups. Here with this star, this is kind of like a guiding light right now. Like it's almost saying that if there's been some sort of current of struggle inside of someone's life, this is where you look, right? I love this reading because it's almost like the deep mind right now is blatantly working with you and with a higher aspect in this angel, in this angelic frequency. And I use the term angel loosely. Some of you might be experiencing it as something else, but whatever it is, it's just a higher frequency that's connected to a different consciousness. When we get into this energy with the Temperance card, this is the idea of the firing up of something in order to burn things away. So, and this is a process of the lightening of the heart. Now, it's deeply emotional, as we see with the liquid pouring into the other cup. Now, what this is about here comes into this, and this really ties back to the beginning of the reading. This is about home. It's about family. 10 of Pentacles. When we see the 10 of Pentacles traditionally in the Arthur Edward Waite, Pamela Coleman Smith deck, what we see is we see 3 generations. Quite possibly something that you're dealing with right now is generational. So when we have this generational energy, this is saying that there's a legacy that's hidden behind that energy. Now, I'm going to explain this because this isn't something that I ever hear people talk about, so I don't know if it's a thing that people know. But whenever you unlock those generational, people will title them curses or traumas, there's always a generational strength that is behind it. That generational strength is often some sort of potential that your ancestors had that was never really fully engaged with. So we did have one about an ancestral inheritance that came through last week. So I find it interesting that these themes are starting to come up, but they're coming up in the same reading. I actually really love the like evolution of that. Here we have these 3 lotuses. And so there may be, again, going back to the idea of these 3 generations, there may be something that people are working on that may be, I don't know why I'm being drawn to the number 4 all of a sudden. So a maternal wound. Not a wound that you got from your mother, a wound that you share with your mother. So a wound that was passed from your maternal line. And some of you, it could be a paternal line, but I feel that for the majority of you, this is going to be a wound that you recognize that, oh, my mother must have felt that way too. And so this is why I'm saying that it's a generational wound and that behind it is a legacy. So for example, maybe your mother felt that she couldn't speak. She felt like nobody listened to her. If she complained about, you know, you never listen to me and nobody ever hears me, and whether you feel that that was true or not, clearly there's a wound there where this individual feels this way. Hiding behind that is actually an exceptionally strong voice if used in the right way. So this is what I mean by generational wounds, and maybe this is what you recognize in your own life, a feeling of being afraid to speak your mind, of speaking your truth. Behind that is a very powerful truth. So moving here to the Hermit card, this is something that someone is beginning to go in and work with. When we have the Hermit, this is a person who goes out into spaces where other people cannot be. So oftentimes we view this as going within. Traditionally, this is the person who is the ascetic. They go out into the desert or they go out into the mountains, and all they have is their lantern and their cloak and their staff. So they can keep their stability. They can remember their goal with their staff, right? It's a fire element. They have their cloak so that they can have their sense of protection and hide their identity. So essentially they're digging past their ego. And they have the lantern to illuminate the darkness. They're bringing this lantern into these darker spaces. Whoever this message is for, even if all you're doing is cleaning your home and, you know, doing like a floor wash or something like that, what you're essentially doing is an action that is mirroring something taking place inside of your psyche. You'll probably find that you process things within a few days of that action. If you're somebody who is going within and really doing the work and trying to protect your energy body, you may notice that certain things are starting to bubble up. These may feel very chaotic at this time, and they're meant to, right? There's something here that's going on inside the collective where the energy of the witch is rising. This is why a couple of readings ago, and for the last few weeks, people coming back and returning to their craft, or people getting interested in shamanism, or people getting interested in various forms of magic has really come up. And that's because that sort of magical power current is rising. A lot of people you're going to have experiences with, for example, the witch deities, whether you resonate with Diana being one of them, or for example, some of you might be working with the Morrigan as one, you might be working with Hecate as one. There's these sorts of energies are kind of being churned. And this happens anytime the tectonic plates of energy shift within our collective unconscious, so within our psyche, right? It happens within a collective level, and it happens on a very deeply personal level. And this is what I'm seeing here, is that the shift is taking place, right? We have these two things kind of acerbating one another, this external world thing and this internal world thing that are kind of brushing up against each other, and it's really unlocking spaces of generational wounding, ancestral wounding, and also ancestral power. And this is something that someone's going to find. This brings us into the final card that was on the bottom of the deck, which is the Lovers. When we see that Lovers, this is an indicator to me that I'm entering into a reading that is really about the process of alchemy. So someone here, you're alchemizing thing. And remember I said that it's an alchemy that's taking place to make the heart lighter. So this is what we have here. We have both of these crows kind of coming together and looking at this heart. Here we have the snake presenting transformation, and then we have the lightness happening where they're flying. So there are balances that are taking place here. Maybe one is the masculine aspect of self-protection, and sometimes that self-protection can, if not balanced with a healthy feminine, it can extend into silencing of self, or keeping oneself hidden, or keeping yourself from doing things that you really want to do, right? It's an oppressive force. That's the yang energy if it's imbalanced. And then you have here the yin energy, which if we have an unhealthy feminine, it can be trying to get back at people. It can be trying to, be subversive. It can be being passive to the degree that we allow things to pass us by, and then we get super upset about it. So if these energies are imbalanced, we're not able to direct our own personal emotional energy in a healthy way. One imbalance causes an imbalance in the other. So someone here, this is what's happening, is we're working on whatever this sort of wound is in order to create a mutual balance. And you do seem like you have some help here off to the left with this angelic frequency showing up. Some of you may even be experiencing it on your left. Some of you are experiencing it behind you to the right. But whatever the case is, there is extra help, which is always appreciated energetically. And it seems to be breaking things down into their components rather than creating a solid picture. When we have this solid image, it's very hard to see behind the illusion. So someone here, you're seeing behind the illusion, and you're starting to see the different parts that have made this up And I'm going to leave this here. So this is really beautiful. You're going through an alchemical process right now that is going to leave you a lot more balanced and leave your heart lighter for this next year. So if this resonates with you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.